Welcome back. Jeff is off tonight, as you know, but we appreciate you watching out there. Misty Copeland was a true child prodigy who went on to make ballet history. She stopped by to share her story with the ladies of our sister show, The Broadcast. Take a look.
Guest is an unlikely ballerina, but Misty Copeland, you guys, I came to know her on Instagram and Twitter and on social media, but this young lady rose from a tumultuous childhood to become only the third African-American soloist in the American Ballet Theater's long history, in the first over a 20-year period, right?
Yes.
I'm kind of in awe right now because she's so amazing. And I read your book, and this is why she's here in Dallas. This amazing book she wrote, Life in Motion, An Unlikely Ballerina, where you tell your story. Start from the beginning, because most people think of ballet as something like very affluent, something you start very young. Tell us your story.
Yeah, and I'm an unlikely ballerina because of all of those things. I didn't come from a typical background of someone who would be exposed to classical ballet. I grew up in a single-parent household, one of 6 kids. I'm African American. I grew up very poor, and ballet found me when I was 13 years old at a program at the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, stop. She's just going through this story. You were 13 years old when you started doing ballet.
Yes, which is very, very late. You have to get the body when it's young, before you hit puberty, so you can mold it and shape it. And I only trained for 4 years before I became a professional and moved to New York.
And I read in your book it said something like 3 months after you started taking lessons, you were already on point. Isn't that the first picture right there?
That was the first time I ever stood on point, yes.
And it was only 3 months after you started?
Yeah.
Okay, so you knew you had the God-given talent for this. What happened next?
I did. I had everything that it took physically. I could imitate the teacher. I could kind of follow along. But 4 years later, when I became a professional, I realized how different I was. I was the only African-American woman in the company for 10 years.
And what was that like for you?
It was really lonely, and it was really difficult to feel at an age when you're becoming an adult, to feel that I didn't fit in. And I didn't. I didn't have the same upbringing as a lot of the people around me, the same background. It was very lonely, and it took having amazing mentors that entered my life to really keep me on track and guide me and say, you were born to do this, don't give up.
Now, do you think you lost out on parts because you're African American? I know that question comes up a lot. Do you think that came into play for you?
It's so difficult to kind of separate things and say, this is why. But I know from the history of classical ballet and African American women, there aren't very many that have made it to a top level in an elite company. And I do think it's because of the color of my skin and our skin that we've just never really been a part of this culture, and I definitely want to change that.
And there were other issues too, right, with your body type, because you're very athletic. Okay, she's so tiny sitting next to me, but you're incredibly athletic, and that also created some problems, right?
Yeah, they're just I guess you could call them setbacks, but I overcame them. They just continue to come. You know, once I became a professional, I all of a sudden matured into this curvy woman with a bust and with more muscle. And all of those things also are not thought of as a ballerina. And I just worked so hard to prove that my talent was enough, that I didn't have to fit into this box and this mold of what everyone thinks of, which is a white woman with no chest and no muscle, and I was everything that wasn't. So.
Oh, I love it. And you know, this isn't just a story about a ballerina, because throughout your life, you mentioned growing up very poor in San Pedro out there in California. There were some other issues you had to deal with along the way, issues with your mom, guardian. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard. My teacher, Cynthia Bradley, who saw me at the Boys and Girls Club and brought me into her school on full scholarship, knew immediately that I had the talent to become a professional. So I had 4 short years to train, which is unheard of. So I ended up moving in with her so that I could train intensely. And it was difficult for my mom. You know, I was away from her the entire week. I would come home on weekends when we were living in a motel at the time. All 5 of my siblings, all 6 of us. So it was really difficult. My mom felt at a certain point after, 2 years of living with my teacher that she was losing me. And there ended up being this big legal court battle that ensued. And I was 15 years old. It was traumatic. My intimate personal life was displayed all over the media, and I was so shy already and insecure. The only place I felt at home was on the stage. So it was really, really difficult. But I think all of those things made me the strong person that I am today, and it makes it easier for me to want to push for other girls that look like me or other minorities who feel like they're not a part of this world to just diversify ballet.
Such an inspiration, and I love it. Thank you so much. We're so glad you were here, you guys.
All right, that was beautiful. Just to hear that inspiring story, it lets you know no matter what socioeconomic background you are, what race you are, if you have a dream, it can happen.
You know, you guys, this is a movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is a movie. If you can make
Lifetime.
the
I watched
other
it on
movie, what was that
Lifetime.
movie, The Black Swan or
Black
whatever?
Swan, yeah.
This is a movie. I mean, she had everything: poverty, a mother in conflict, a mentor. She was 13 years old, an African American in the ballet world who also still realizes that some jobs she couldn't get because she's black. What a great inspirational story!
sure.
And she did not allow anything to hold her back. This is a great movie.
She had a good inspiration, that one person who said, don't let anything stop you from pursuing this dream. Because I don't know how she was discovered, but she has the physique of a ballet dancer, of a prima ballerina. Her legs, and in the ballet world, they call it good feet. She has good feet because it kind of arches. Her knees go backward a little bit, and then her foot comes out, and it just looks, it's so fluid and gorgeous. It's like poetry.
So she was born to do this.
I think she was born to do this. And imagine how
Everybody has a
awful if
destiny.
somebody didn't find her.
Oh, yes. The Boys and Girls Club is, you know, they're known for that, for exposing these kids who come from these low socioeconomic backgrounds and trying to propel them into these different environments to show them a different world from where they came from.
Yeah.
Can you imagine most kids who grow up in a hotel and
Oh,
struggle
that's
like
just
that with no
awful.
father in the home
Yeah.
could have been on the streets,
Yeah.
you know, what doing drugs or any of that. And she surpassed all of that. I think it's a testament to people who are not afraid to help somebody who doesn't look like them, and not afraid to help somebody, you know, who doesn't quite have the same background as all the other people they're
Yeah.
mentoring, because that could have been
Yeah, and
a
she
factor.
mentioned that, you know, a lot of times kids who take ballet are pretty well off because it's an extra. You know, it's
Sure.
not necessary. Well, it's necessary to your life if you love music and beauty and all that kind of stuff. But in the day-to-day world, it wouldn't have been necessary to her life, and yet she is going to be she is a big star. It's going to be
And
great.
kudos
Good for
to her. Kudos to her that she's talking about the realities. I mean,
Yeah.
Dawn did an excellent interview.
Oh,
And by
yes.
asking her, hey, has this taken away, I mean, that you're African American, have you had less opportunities, whatever? She's talking about it. She's not afraid to say, well, you know, just talk the company line.
And I like that she said it was an obstacle, but I didn't let it define me. Because a lot of people get caught up on all the obstacles in the way,
Right.
and they make excuses about that. It's great to see a person say, yeah, they were obstacles. And yes, I did encounter that. But you know what? I didn't let that get in my head.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I rose above it.
Exactly.
And I think that's a great testament.
Is this a great country?
I would love to see her perform. I just
Me
wish she
too. I
could've-
wanna see more of that dancing.
We need to Google that and see where she's performing.
She's in town for something, apparently. Yeah.
We need to
Promoting her book.
Promoting her book.
Okay, but she's not dancing here? Because we have ballet all the time around here.
I would hope that she takes stop by the Dallas Black Dance Theater.
Oh, that would-
because
oh, I
that
bet
would,
she
that
is.
would be great.
Yeah,
to
I'll bet
inspire a lot of those kids. Because I told you I took ballet, and
Yes.
and a lot of people don't know it, but I'm like 5'11", practically 6 feet. So I grew up way too fast. And you said you took ballet. And
Oh, I wanted to be a
you
ballerina.
wanted to be a ballerina.
Yeah, and I did take dance, but no, I didn't have the legs for it.
You didn't have the legs for it.
Come on, try it out right here.
Nobody could lift me up. They were like,
they-
1, 2,
yeah.
3.
No guys are that big.
Too much information,
Yeah,
people.
ballet dancers,
Too
guys,
much.
they're little. Like
They are.
Baryshnikov, he's what, 5'7", something like that.
Yeah.
And then you stand on your toes, you'd be 6'3".
I think ballerinas really have to be petite and small because they have to be light on their feet and they have to be able to be lifted and all of that. But I
Like
love
her.
that.
She's
Yes,
gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And you know, they call them bun heads for the buns.
Oh,
they
okay.
Were
Little bun heads.
Bun heads.
What a beautiful bun head.
Yeah, she was a
Okay.
beautiful bun head.
She was.
When the Texas Daily returns, our look back in history takes us to Tibet and a birthday wish for Barbie. So stick around.